Hi there, this is Matt Wakeling from Sydney, Australia, and you're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. Now today I'll speak to fantastic Australian guitar player Chris Kamzelas. Chris is a highly respected sideman with heaps of high-profile gigs. He's played alongside people like Tina Arena, Adam Brand, Ronan Keating, just to name a few. He's played on countless album sessions, and he's also appeared on some high-pressure live TV gigs like The Voice and Australian Idol. Now Chris is really well respected and always busy, always working, so I was very excited to hear that he managed to find time to produce his debut solo EP.
You knew how to find me when I tried to hide. Your body felt open, your heart was all mine. I can still feel your hands over my face. I miss you just like
Now Chris not only played all the great guitar parts, but wrote all the material and stepped up front as the lead vocalist. And man, I tell you, he did an excellent job on all fronts. We get into the nitty-gritty of writing and producing the album. We talk about all the guitar stuff you would possibly want to know about it. And we go back and find out about Chris's development. Now, the EP is yet to be released. It's yet to be named, as we'll find out. But Chris has released 2 singles from it already. The track Fall For You, which you're listening to right now, and also the song Knocking At My Door. But stick around because we're going to listen to some exclusive, never-before-heard parts of the EP with Chris's fantastic playing, writing, singing. All right, I can sense a guitar solo coming on, so I'm going to stop talking. We're going to listen to a bit more of Chris's fantastic playing, and then we'll get straight into the interview.
you got through 1,000 kisses deep. Autumn leaves in the sunlight heat. Somehow you always got through. I knew I'd fall for you. Fall for you.
Chris Kamzelas, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Man, my pleasure.
It's good to be.
It's great to have
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Last time we spoke really briefly. It must have been sort of mid last year, I guess, leading up to the Gary Moore gig. So it's great to have you on to talk about your career in a broader sense.
Yeah, that was a fair while ago.
Yeah, and that was a great gig, by the way. I know we've chatted briefly after that. I think on over Facebook or something. But man, you killed it. I loved hearing you open up. That gig.
Thanks. It was. It's always nerve-wracking, when there's a whole bunch of guitar players on one gig,
Uh-huh.
And I chose to sing my songs, and one of them was a real difficult one.
Was
It
that the slow tune, the blues?
No, I sang both of them, but
Yeah.
it was Shapes of Things.
Oh, okay. The
Gary Moore
rock
does
tune. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's really up there when he's singing, so
Yeah.
it's like you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, man. That was
Yeah.
great. Loved it. Loved it. You're playing in your tones and singing the whole
Oh,
thing.
thanks.
It was such a good
Thank
night.
you.
When
Yeah,
did-
it was.
When did you start playing guitar in the first place, Chris?
I started when I was 12.
Uh-huh.
Picked up the guitar,
Yeah.
and originally I wanted to play drums.
Okay.
I was right into like the first thing I ever got into, because I had an older brother. I've got an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and he would introduce me to all these bands. So I'd hear of everything through him first.
Okay, that's cool.
At a young age,
Yep.
before I started playing. So, we're listening to The Police and AC/DC and Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, so there was a lot of air guitar going on and air drumming before I actually picked up the the instrument.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've got a brother who's 6 years older, and I definitely got introduced to a lot of cool stuff through his record collection too. So I like that idea that your family's kind of passing on stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, and he's really passionate about music. He doesn't play.
Uh-huh.
He wanted to play bass, but he's really passionate. So he would really go searching for albums. I'd get to hear everything.
That's cool.
First, like as soon as the freshest stuff would come out, in the 80s, and
Great.
it was cool. Yeah.
Great. So when you started playing, what kind of stuff were you learning?
I started lessons. So the usual Mel Bay method one thing.
Yeah, cool.
And I wasn't practicing,
Yeah.
And I'd ask my teacher, can I learn a Richie Blackmore riff? And he was like, no, you got to learn this stuff first, and which was sort of it led me to sort of force me to listen and work out things by ear,
Okay. Yep.
Because he wasn't showing it to me, so I thought, let me just listen over and over and try to work this stuff out. And a lot of it was wrong. Like I'd work it out, and you'd come back 2 weeks later, and you'd find your ear was improving slowly. When you'd
awesome.
go back to that certain riff you worked out, or you'd pick the notes that you got wrong the first time around.
That's exciting, that phase.
So it's mostly like self-taught to start with. Yeah.
Was there a particular song or riff or something that, I don't know, was a real breakthrough that you still remember now, learning it and thinking, okay, I'm getting somewhere here?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember the song, but it was the Judas Priest
Okay.
melody, melody line.
Yeah.
You know how they used to do their harmony lines?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
cool.
probably the first thing I worked out by ear, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's exciting, yeah. That stuff sticks with you, hey? That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first guitar?
Yes, it was, well, the first thing I had was an acoustic hand-me-down that my brother didn't sort of take on, yeah. So, just mucked around with that. And my first electric guitar was this, I think it was a Japanese guitar, a Zumi.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you ever heard of a Zumi?
I've seen a couple.
And it's funny. Like the reason I bought it, because I didn't know what I was buying at that time.
Yep.
The reason I bought it was red. It had a tremolo bar on it.
Yep.
And it had two black humbuckers, and it reminded me of Steve Vai's guitar in Crossroads, the movie.
Oh, okay, yes. Yep.
So that's why I picked that guitar.
That's great.
So yeah, it wasn't playability. It was just, oh yeah, that looks cool. That's sort of what Vi plays,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And do you have an amp? I guess you must have plugged it into something.
Yeah, a little 10-watt Gorilla amp.
Oh, classic.
That I used to turn to 10 just so it can distort as much as possible.
Yep. When did you end up doing bands and stuff like that? When were you moving into performing?
I started gigging when I was 17.
Okay.
And that came through. Back then it was different to how it is now. Everything's on the internet. Back then you'd go to your local music store and there was a community. You'd hang out there and meet other musicians, and that's how I scored my first gig, like in a covers band.
Okay.
Because there was lessons going on in the building, and you'd hang out in the music store, and I met a drummer there, and he got me into his covers band, and it went on from there.
Yeah,
really.
Cool. What was the store? What was your local hang?
Hurstville Guitar Factory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there was one before that. There was another one called. I was on Forest Road in Bexley. St. George Music.
Okay.
Actually, I did work experience at St. George Music.
Nice.
But those two stores were the hang stores. But St. George Music doesn't exist anymore now, so they shut down.
Sure.
And Guitar Factory shut down as well.
They have as well. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Something.
Yep.
You've
Yeah.
you've ended up becoming one of the busiest and most well-regarded sidemen in Australia. You've played with people like Jess Malboy, Tina Arena, Adam Brand, Ronan Keating. I'm just naming a few. There's a lot more. How,
Yeah.
how'd you end up there? What's been the key for you being solidly booked as a guitar player?
I think along the way you meet, just how I met, the musos for the first covers band. It's like you cross paths with different musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up in other gigs, and they refer you on to, if they score a bigger gig, and the position comes up, they refer you on. It's a lot of that, I think,
Yeah.
and that's as your career goes on, the steps go up. You know what I mean? Like with the gigs, and I didn't see a lot of it coming. I thought I was going to be in an originals band. You know.
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, I was into all the session guys, like
Yeah.
Michael Landau and Steve Lukather and all that,
Okay, cool.
I love that whole scene as well.
Yep.
So it didn't see it really coming like that.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
as kids, a lot of us think, you see a band on stage and you just assume that's all those people do. So you think, maybe I'll be in one band and that's it.
Mm.
That's your whole thing. But the reality of working is that you're going to play with a lot of people, and to play full time like you are, it takes a lot of gigs and a lot of sessions and a lot of hard work and skill to make a full time go of it.
Yeah, and I think you have to do that. Not be closed to, you be open to anything that's going to come your way, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
In this industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you're like a solid artist, like you've got your thing. But I was young. I didn't really. I just wanted to play.
Yep.
So as it went on, I did have an originals band
Mm-hmm.
and that was it was a pretty good band. It was just, I don't know, it's different to how it is today. Like now I can, when I write music, I can hear the finished product pretty much.
Yep.
Whereas back then you just question everything, and it was me and another guy in the band that was sort of getting things done, and we didn't really have a sound, but we were a good band, good bunch of musos, and so I couldn't see that sort of being a solid thing. Like I still wasn't ready to sort of create. I think that's why it probably went down the sideman sort
Okay.
of route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about working on TV as a guitar player, because you've done seasons on The Voice and Australian Idol. How's that different from your average kind of session?
Well, there's a lot of pressure
Mm-hmm.
on TV, on live TV.
Yeah, I bet.
And also those types of shows, you don't really have much time to prepare.
Okay.
You're getting songs like last minute, pretty much.
Wow.
And it has changed. Like it's a lot better now. Like with The Voice, you get your music to look through. It's just a big workload, but
Sure.
you do get your music to look through. Weeks in advance, or as the show goes on, it becomes the day before.
Okay.
But when in the Idol days, it wasn't like that. You didn't have you basically turned up and they handed you the music,
Okay.
and it was it was on. Go
Wow.
for it.
Wow. That is a lot of pressure
So
when you not only have to pull it off, but it's on live TV as well.
yeah, on those days I just felt, oh man, I was just stressed all the time. I think The Voice was a bit easier, but
Okay.
but Idol, I was really stressed.
Yeah.
And it would come that Sunday, we'd do the live show, and then after it, I'd go out and reward myself with an awesome dinner, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the easiest thing is just difficult.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
really, your focus is like when it kicks in, it's just 100%. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing like there shouldn't be anything else going on in your
Yeah.
head, you know. Yeah, because you just know if you screw up, you're screwing the singer pretty much, you know.
Right.
And I had this attitude. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like I see other guys, they do it with ease, you know. But I put pressure on myself. Like if I stuff this up, this determines my next job. You know
Okay,
what I mean? Like
sure.
it's a bit. It gets. Yeah. I don't know. I'm learning as I'm getting older to sort of chill out a bit.
Uh-huh. Oh, just I guess the nature of your job is that you're self-employed and you're looking for another gig. You're building your career a gig at a time, I guess.
Yeah, totally. You know, there's always that. That never. Like you just. That's the industry. Like you don't know. You know, being self-employed,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know where your next job is going to come. It could
Yep.
be. You could have work going on, and then you look ahead, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? You know, things always pop up, but
Mm-hmm.
there's always that stress. Like, oh, is that it? You know, am I done?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I totally respect guys like yourself and Mike Dolce, Peter Northcote, who are not only incredible players that you all are, but you've made a career of it. You're not just rocking up on the weekend. So you're really putting it on the line.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I think guys like that, like, you don't really have any other options.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's this, like, I know, like, I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what the money.
Yeah.
You know, so I give myself no other option. Like, I'm going into this, and I'm gonna, you know, hopefully gigs will come. You know,
Yeah.
and just keep at it.
Yeah, cool.
You know, yeah, I think that I don't know what the saying is, but there's some saying about you know, not having a plan B. You shouldn't have a plan B.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, you've just thrown yourself in, but
yeah,
man,
you
it's
just
obviously
go for it.
working. You've built an amazing career, and it's going from strength to strength. So man, hats off to you.
Thanks.
Now you've managed to speaking about the original stuff. Well, you've actually kind of come full circle, I guess, because you've just put together a fantastic new EP, and you've released a couple of songs off it already. Congratulations, man! It sounds fantastic.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's been fun. You know, finally finishing something. You know, and not sort of cringing when you hear it. You know.
Well, it's interesting you say, about knowing what you want to hear in the finished product, whereas perhaps, some years back you weren't entirely sure. I guess all your sessions and gigs with a variety of artists maybe informs a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I guess all the knowledge that's built up. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to, how to find the things you want to hear, you know.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I couldn't really explain it, you know.
Yeah, well, I guess you know what you want to hear though, so you know when you're finished on a
Yeah.
tune, or you know
It's
what's
like,
left.
it's like you visualize it, like, you know, you've got an acoustic guitar and a melody, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like you can visualize the finished product, you know, all the colors, you know.
Yeah, awesome. Is that your process for writing? It's like an acoustic guitar and singing melodies?
Yeah, I try to basically it's guitar, and I try to just build a foundation, chords and melody,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and if I've got that, I can come up with an arrangement, and then from there, you know, once I get in the studio, then I start thinking about actual parts and
Okay.
you know, yeah, you know, putting in all the colors, you know.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
I think that's the key. Basically, coming up with if you can sing a song, you know, with some, you know, your progressions, the foundation of your song, you know, you can't go wrong. I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
it's when you
it's a
start
strong song.
searching. You're with a computer and you're playing a drum groove and you're just searching for something. You hope,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
there is. I guess everyone's got their way, but that seems a bit blind. You know what I mean? Like going, you don't know what you really want to hear, you know.
Uh-huh.
Whereas hearing a chord and creating a melody and how it sort of sounds with the chord, you know,
Absolutely.
bare basics, you know.
So when did the process start for you for these 5 tracks? When did the writing process start?
It was a fair while ago. I think probably about 4 years ago,
Okay.
I think. And it was through the way it started was my mate Edward said he's produced the stuff up with me.
Okay, cool.
You know, we've recorded at his studio at King's X Music in
Okay.
King's Cross.
Fantastic.
And he basically came to me and said, "Hey, there's a pitch for a watch ad in the States, and they want a song that sort of sounds like the Black Keys vibe, and you know." And we were having pizza, just hanging out across the road from the studio.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, "Do you reckon you can come up with something?" And I was sort of cocky, you know. I was like, "Yeah, you know, let's go," you know. So we went up to the studio, and basically the song "Let It Go"
Yep.
came about in about half an hour. You know, it was done.
Wow,
you know?
that's amazing.
And then we just recorded the parts, put down the vocal. You know, came together really quick, and that was, you know, the first sign for me. I can actually do this. I can finish a song, and I'm happy with how it sounds. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a cool riff in the chorus of that tune.
Oh yeah. Sort of. I guess it's got power chords, but it's sort of Hendrixy. You know.
Yeah, right.
The way it rolls around.
Yeah, it's got a swagger.
Yeah.
So there's 5 tracks. We're speaking in February 2018. 5 tracks.
Yeah.
You've released 2 singles already, so Fall For You and it's Knocking at My Door, the second single, I think.
Yes.
Yep, awesome. Yep. And what's the plan for the other 3 tracks? Will you release them as singles, or will you do a combined release at some stage?
Well, I might do one more single,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll release it as an EP. 5-track EP.
Okay, cool.
So just to sort of get in people's faces, you know.
Yeah.
Stagger it, you know.
Yep.
With the algorithms that are going on now on Facebook, you know, it's like it's really hard. You know, you're still in a bubble, it seems, you know.
Sure.
You're not really reaching as many people as you think, you know.
Yeah,
but
it's tricky knowing how to get stuff out. I think a song at a time, at least you're kind of spreading out the time, the duration of it, and giving more people a chance to catch it, I guess. Yeah.
And probably at some stage in the future, I probably should hire someone to sort of market it properly, you know. Either a publicist or someone who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
It's guesswork, you know.
Hey, the single "Knocking at My Door," great tune, man. I love the strat tones in the verses. What guitars are you playing on that track?
So that's all. That's my cream Strat. It's a hardtail.
Okay.
I've had. That's the guitar that's been with me all along. It's gone on like all my gigs. Like it's been all over the place. That thing.
Awesome. What is it? Talk us through what.
It's an '83 Strat.
Yep.
Hardtail, so there's no tremolo on it.
Yeah.
and the strings sort of, it's like a telly. The strings come through the back
Yep.
of the
Yep.
body.
Nice.
And I've got a Charles Fillier humbucker in it.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Oh, actually, no. The Charles Fillier is in my gold strat.
Okay, yep.
The humbucker is a 59 Seymour Duncan.
Okay, cool.
And the single coils Area 67s, Damasio.
Oh, cool. Are they like the noiseless kind of vintagey things? Yeah.
But they sound really nice. Like over the years I've used the HS3s and HS2s.
Yep.
And they've sort of they're the fourth and second positions don't sound right, on those pickups. Whereas these, they managed to get that out of phase thing, and they're nice and woody sounding. They capture that Strat vibe with no noise.
Cool.
I can't hack the noise. Like, I really love the sound of those vintage style pickups, but I can't do the buzz. It just kills me.
Yeah, sure. But again, with all your sessions, I guess that becomes all the more obvious if you single coils.
Yeah, you can't be in a studio and that going on.
Gotcha.
Drives engineers crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's your 83. Is it otherwise stock?
Yeah, and I've it's been refretted about 4 times. I think it's got I've put the big jumbo frets on it.
Yep.
I took the lacquer off the neck.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a dry finish. It's got a seal on it, but it's a dry feel.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's certainly the guitar I most see you with. It is super cool and vibey.
Yeah. So that's the guitar that's mostly used on the EP.
Okay. Yeah. What about amps? Are you miking up or using some sort of modeling?
Yeah, I basically it's all the Marshall.
Yeah, yep.
On the EP, it's a 50-watt plexi.
Great.
And I used a cabinet that's got old greenback Celestion heritage Celestions. The old greenbacks. They're 30-watt speaker. Cool. They're not the 25s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was speaker wise, and I was like, I think if I did it all again, I'm getting way better sounds now. It's always the way, But I was using a tube screamer as well.
Yep.
With a Marshall to try gain it up even more.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the solo when that gets a little shreddy, it sounds like you're pushing the Marshall somewhere there.
Yeah, and the other thing was I was like for the rhythm guitars, I was trying to get it to be a bit tighter sounding. So I was doing the wrong thing really, but overall the recording sounds warm, But I was basically trying to get gainy sounds for rhythm guitars with a tube screamer, which is like. Pretty wrong. Like, I was trying to get rid of that mid hump by taking the mids way out on the amp.
Okay, and then adding.
So the mids were on 0, and I was pushing the tube screamer through it.
So bringing them back.
It's just laziness. It's in the moment.
Oh man, I don't know. I love the tones. I mean, you're listening to them. Fine Tooth Comb.
Yeah.
But I love it. My notes I'm writing super present. The guitars are super present on the whole record. I loved what you ended up doing with it.
Yeah, Eddie's done a good job too. Like we worked a lot on that, just EQing and just everything. We went for it. He put up with me, I was really finicky about everything.
Okay. Oh man, it sounds like it paid off. Knocking it my door again, just to stay on that tune for a moment. I mean, the overdubs are super thoughtful. You've obviously you've planned them out well. Not only the playing but the tones, so they all kind of sit well.
I was thinking about that this afternoon. With the EP, I was thinking, I didn't really. There's not much improvising on the whole thing. Like I wanted to create, like, because when I first wrote the songs, I had no solos in mind.
Okay.
And I'd put them together, and I played them to my mate. Do you know Richie Vez? Have you met Richie?
Oh, again, know the name. I don't think I've met him.
He plays bass in Diesel, in Mark
okay,
Lazot's
okay,
band.
awesome.
And I played him the tracks because we had a band together.
Okay.
Richie and I. And I played him the tracks, and he's like, "Oh, it sounds good, man," And he goes, "Where's your bloody solos?" He goes, "I know you as a guitar player, like he, does that."
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I went away. I was like, God, he's right. Okay, I have to rearrange, and so the solos were the same thing. Like the thought that went into the songs.
Okay.
I did the same for the solos. Like,
yeah, cool.
They've got to be another part of the song. They have to say something.
Yeah.
So that was the approach, really. Like everything's pretty worked out in that way.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you added the solos. That was good advice. Thanks, Richie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. That's just the guitar nerd though of me coming out. But yeah, man, great.
Oh, I'm the
great
same.
parts.
I'm the same. Like I don't know where I was listening to Foo Fighters a lot, and
Yeah.
I was in that sort of mode. But really, I'm a guitar head. It's like, part of the players I listen to mostly are song players.
Yep.
Like Luca, he plays on songs, and you wait for those solos in the middle, and it kills you.
Yeah.
Dan Huff's the same. I come from that, really. It would have been stupid of me to sort of leave it all out.
Sure. But man, yeah, great parts that you've stuck in. Don't You Turn Back. Love that tune. That's an epic sort of anthem going on there. You get a little bit more ear candy on that song.
Yeah, that's the closer. So it's like huge. It's a big sing, and there's some nice movement throughout the track. With the changes that are going on. Yeah,
I was digging it. The solos, some Lydian mode going on there. Quite
a
tasty sound there.
There's a bit of the Steve Vai thing coming in, But it's funny. Like, it probably goes for this generation of guitar players. We all grew up on that, Vai and Satriani, and going back to Ritchie Blackmore and. There comes a stage where it just comes out, it's part of your DNA, from listening. Yeah. It's not like I played that solo trying to rip off particular Vai things. They're just things you've heard and influenced you in the past, certain colours, the Lydian thing and all that, with and the sliding around the neck, on the one string and,
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, I heard the mode. I don't know if I heard any other guitar players. I think it's obviously soaked in deep to you. So by the time it came out, there's plenty of Chris Kamzelas on it.
Oh yeah, everyone's got their stamp. I think
Yeah. Nice.
But there's certain modes that guitar players have sort of made theirs. Like Steve Vai's like the Lydian sort of vibe. Who else? Like John Mayer's got that major 7 thing going on.
Sure, yep.
So you can't help it. It comes out in some way.
It's just a take your
like the phase in the pre-chorus, and there was some trippy delays on the front and the back of the tune too. That was some cool textures.
Yeah, the phaser in the pre-chorus. That's that phase 90
Okay, classic.
going on there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was all done in while tracking.
Yeah, laid it
pretty
down.
much.
Nice.
Yeah, and the delay thing at the end, that's like it's sort of, because it's such an epic song, it fades out, like it closes the EP, you know. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to sort of get there. You know, when you listen to your favourite albums and it gets to the last song and you're sort of, you're so lost in it, you know, it's like, you're meditating, you know, and the last track just takes you out and then you fall asleep. You know? That's what I was trying to create there, you know.
That's awesome.
That goes for people that sort of, from our generation that listen to albums start to finish.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Loved it. What would you use for the delay? Was that live as well?
That was in the studio.
Okay.
We just grabbed a part of the song and used a plug-in.
Yeah, cool.
Like an analog style delay, and just turned the feedback right up.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you played your 83 Strat. Any other guitars get a run? Like the gold one? That's the other one I guess I see you with a fair bit.
The gold one did, and maybe my Les Paul, just on some really thick power chords.
Okay, yeah, nice.
But it was basically the cream Strat, and the gold one here and there. But the gold one sounds a bit brighter.
Okay.
So I would have used it probably for like, sort of that spankier sort of sound.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that one? What year is that, or what?
It's not. It's that's I pieced that together from all different pieces. Like, no, it's not one sort of guitar. Okay. Like the neck came from a mate of mine who sold me his Strat, and I really like this neck. And the body is the body came from a 50s classic player's Strat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
I think, I don't know, I got rid of the neck and I put this rosewood neck on it and put Charles's pickup humbucker in the bridge and two DiMaggio's Area 67s in it. It's like pieces from everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
Right, cool.
And it's just ended up being a really nice guitar.
Yeah, it's certainly really cool as well.
Mm.
I think I've seen you playing a Strat too, which has like the output jack on the side. Is that a Charvel or something? It looks like a Strat.
That's the cream one.
Okay.
That's been modded. Yeah, because when the 83 came out, that particular model, the jack was on the scratch plate.
Okay.
Facing straight out. Like it wasn't even that you know how on Strats they've got that metal angled sort of
the classic
jack
oval
input
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this was straight on the pick guard.
Oh, okay, so this is all right. So
you'd have to use a right angle lead, you know. Or else it looks silly.
It's just really not cool. No.
Yeah, so whoever had that guitar before I owned it, did the mod. They put the input underneath.
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think it's coming back to me. Early '80s Strats. I think it was the Fullerton factory when one of the cost cutting measures before it got bought out again was like I think just the 2 pots, volume tone and yeah. There you go.
But it's ended up a nice guitar, you know. I think it was the neck that sort of, I remember picking it up in the store and going, wow, this neck feels easy, you know. The board at that time, a lot of the Strats were traditional. The curve in the fretboard, you know. This was flatter than your traditional Strat.
Yeah.
So I think that's what sort of caught my eye first, you know.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So with these tunes, is there any chance of you pulling together like a band to play some shows in support of the EP?
Maybe later this year. You know, it's I'd have to sort of really prepare for it, like to to be able to sing all those tunes. I really thrashed my voice on those recordings. But yeah, it would be fun. I sometimes play Fall For You at gigs.
Okay, cool.
When I've got when it's Dario, Dario Bortolin?
Yeah, great bass player.
From Baby Animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gig a lot together, and
Great.
my mate Fab Amadei. When it's them on the gig, I might rip it out and
Yeah, great.
give it a go.
Very cool.
Yeah, but I should look at getting something together and getting out there. Would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'm sure it'd be really well received as well.
Yeah, that's always nerve-wracking too. Is anyone going to turn up?
I think I don't know. In the guitar community, you're well known and loved, and I think it's always exciting when a guy of your stature puts out a solo album, because we find out, I guess, where your heart is, and you end up. We want to know what the stuff you really want to play is after seeing you on a whole heap of gigs. So it's good to see your.
Yeah, it would be. I could picture myself doing it, like in the way of and making a sort of a set out of it, where I sort of extend stuff, like rearrange songs and to stretch out a bit more.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Nice, very cool. And man, what's the rest of the year look like? Apart from getting your EP out, which is obviously going to be the highlight and a very exciting time. Got any other gigs coming up we should know about?
What have I got coming up? It's all different. Mm-hmm. It's always changing.
Yeah, sure.
I get to play with a lot of the 80s artists in this show called Absolute 80s.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely 80s. It's it sort of swaps around. It's like the singers from the bands, like Boo Crash Opera, Kids in the Kitchen, our&nbsp, a good friend of mine, Paul Gray.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Who else? Brian Mannix from Uncanny X-Men.
Awesome.
Sean from The Models.
Yeah.
Who else is in it? Dave Sterry from Real Life. You get to play with all these classic tunes.
That'd be a lot of fun by the sounds of things.
Yeah. So that I've been booked for. It looks like they're doing another Jimi Hendrix gig.
Okay.
I think.
Great.
For the guitar festival. Maybe I shouldn't be. I I don't know whether I'm allowed to be.
Okay.
Sort of spilling the beans.
Sure.
But that's the next guitar festival, Sydney Guitar Festival that comes around.
Yeah, fantastic.
They're looking at doing a Hendrix.
Okay. Great,
night.
Man. Great. Very cool.
Yeah.
I saw you did a gig with is it Tank? Is that with
with Peter Northcote and Randall, yeah.
Excellent, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. We just sort of there's no rehearsal. You just get up and play on each other's tunes. We do a bunch of tunes and make a lot of noise. And it's put together by Harry Bruce. Do you know Harry?
I haven't met Harry, but I'm aware of him for sure. Yeah, he's the bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
So he puts that together.
Oh, cool.
And it's always good playing with Peter and Randall.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, Chris, what's the best way for people to hear your stuff and keep up to date with everything that's going on with you?
Okay, so it's up on iTunes. If you search me on iTunes, you'll find the 2 singles.
Okay.
To download if you want to buy them.
Yeah.
It's also on Spotify. So you can stream it on Spotify as well. There's also a website coming, which will be at chriskamzelas.com, but it's not finished yet.
Okay.
So it'll be for people to go there and subscribe and, for future things that
excellent.
I might get some solos transcribed and, just offer them people, whoever's interested.
Man, that sounds really good. Yeah, cool. Well, let us know when it's up, and we'll let our listeners know as well, so we can chase it
for
up.
sure.
That sounds cool.
For sure.
Excellent. Well, I feel very lucky because I've heard all 5 tracks. You very generously sent me a pre-release copy. So, yeah, I'm super stoked for you, and I'm can't wait for it to get released so everyone else can hear them too. So, man, congratulations. And
Thanks, Matt.
thanks so much for joining us on the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, there you go, my conversation with Chris Kamzelas. And man, not just an excellent guitar player and a brilliant musician, but very humble man and just passionate about making music. Love talking to people like that. Love having those guests on our show here. So yeah, check out Chris's stuff. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, and as he said, new website being developed. And look out for that EP coming very soon. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Now, remember, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts if you're on iOS. If you use Android or some other device, you can get these episodes delivered to you via Stitcher Radio or iHeartRadio. So subscribing is a very cool thing to do. Also, we're on Facebook and Instagram. We love to hear from you, love to get your feedback about the show. So drop us a line through there or email us at guitarspeakpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. Now, next week, we have got a massive show. It's an Australian triple header. It's actually a quadruple header. We've got Jimmy the Human Hocking from the Screaming Jets coming and talking to us. We've got Brooke McClimate and Adam Eckersley, who've just released a great new album, Brooke and Adam. And we talked to Ian Cook from V-Trem Guitars. Now, Ian, very clever guy. He has designed and patented a new tremolo system. It's essentially a Floyd Rose style, a double locking trem. But you can push down and you can push up. And in the center position, it almost functions like a hardtail. It's like a non-recessed Floyd, but you can still pull up on it. I went and had a play and talked to Ian, and it was very, very interesting, a very cool idea. So all that stuff coming up next week in the next episode of the Guitar Speak podcast. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Matt Wakeling. We'll see you next time. Bye now.